Hi everyone, happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen tonight. You are watching another episode of Cook With Me TV. I'm your host, Ashley Thomas, a registered dietitian. And if you're new here to Cook With Me TV, we are a network of live stream cooking classes that you can take right in the comfort of your own kitchen. We use a plant-forward approach to cooking healthy meals that taste good, and we teach you how to cook vegetables and other plant foods that nourish your body in a very satisfying way. So I'm really excited to share with you the recipe we have tonight, which is ramen. We made it just last month, maybe 2 months ago, but we're bringing it back because one, it's a delicious recipe that is good to eat anytime. And two, it's 15 degrees here in Illinois, so we're gonna warm up with a nice bowl of ramen. I see we have some people tuned in. Hello, Colleen. Colleen, I'm sorry that you're sitting in the Atlanta airport right now. I know you have a long layover, but we are excited to have you back home. So safe travels on your way back here. Hello, Linda. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Lindsay. Good evening, beautiful Tammy. Hi, Janet. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Hello, Evan. And Casey, if you're watching. Love to see y'all on. You guys are absolutely our regular viewers here at Cook With Me TV, and we love it. We love seeing you on. Linda is saying, happy Monday. It's perfect for this weather, isn't it? Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Hey, Jamie, good to see you. Thanks for joining us again. Yay, happy to catch you live instead of a rerun. So glad. The live shows are more fun. The replays are great, especially if you're gonna cook along with the replay. They're good for that reason, but the lives are just so much more fun because we can actually chat back and forth. Colleen's at Cafe Intermezzo in the Atlanta airport. Well, I hope that you can find a good dinner there. It probably won't be as good as what we're making tonight, but that's okay. And actually, I'm cooking for one tonight because everybody's gone out of the house, and so it's just gonna be me for dinner tonight. So we're gonna keep it very simple. If you are new, again, one more thing. As I mentioned earlier, you probably heard me say you can cook along with the replay. So if you can't catch these shows live to cook along with us, you can absolutely find the video on our Facebook page and cook along with the replay. It's, you know, sometimes people like that better because maybe if I'm going a little too fast or if I'm going too slow, you can either speed up the video or slow it down depending on how skilled you are in the kitchen. So I encourage you all to give these cooking classes a try and please let me know how they go. This is absolutely the best way for you to learn how to eat well is to actually get in the kitchen and cook on a regular basis. It takes practice, and if you don't feel confident in the kitchen, it's going to take time to build that confidence up. But you have to dedicate time and be intentional about practicing this craft or this skill before you can actually get good enough to feel confident doing it and incorporate it into your everyday life. So maybe you make this your intention for 2019 is to practice your skills in the kitchen more so that you can become more confident. You can come into the kitchen feeling good about what you're about to make, feeling confident in being able to piece together a healthy meal. And the more that you practice, the faster you get, the better you get. So it's all a win-win if you dedicate some time to get in the kitchen and cook healthy. All right. Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you. Happy Monday. I hope your week started off well. Hey, Janice. Oh, Janice is saying, I've never had ramen noodles. Okay, so ramen, and Janice, I believe you're gluten-free, and there are some gluten-free versions that you can do, but ramen is typically made using buckwheat noodles. So if we look at authentic Japanese ramen dishes, they typically use a buckwheat noodle, or they'll use a, gosh, I can't remember the name of the flour now. It's escaping my mind, but there's another popular flour that they use in Japan to actually make their noodles from scratch, but we're not doing that tonight. We're not going to do that. We're taking shortcuts tonight. We're using a nice buckwheat noodle, but for those that are trying to cook gluten-free, you could use a rice noodle. It wouldn't necessarily be authentic ramen, but that's okay because we're modifying certain ingredients to fit your needs, and so a rice noodle would work really well with that. There's also sweet potato noodles that you might be able to find in your grocery store that you can use as well. Or you could do like a zoodle, like a zucchini noodle. If you have a spiralizer, you could do that. Or you could buy pre-spiralized noodles at the grocery store and use that in place of your noodles. So there's lots of different ways that you can make this meal gluten-free. The first thing that we are going to do is get our broth going. So the base of our ramen is going to be the broth. And so we're going to start by dicing a little bit of ginger, garlic, and scallion, and we are going to get that into our pan here. So again, I'm only cooking for one tonight. The recipe online is written out to serve 2, but you can also change the serving sizes on that recipe if you're cooking for 4, 6, or 8 or more. That's the great thing about our recipes online. Normally I crush the garlic, but these skins were kind of already coming off, so I'm just sort of squeezing it to get it off. Try not to skip these ingredients when you are making your broth because they're going to give it so much flavor. We're just going to thinly slice our garlic. And then we're also going to do a little bit of ginger. And so I'm only going to use one of these small knobs. This is usually what the ginger looks like when you get it at the grocery store, but we're just going to break off this guy and use him. And as usual, getting out the spoon. You can use a spoon to peel your ginger. It's really easy. It takes all of the skin off without cutting off too much flesh. A lot of times if you use your knife or like a vegetable peeler to get the skin off of your ginger, you take off so much of the ginger itself. So this is just an easy way. You don't need any extra tools or anything like that. Lindsay is eating leftovers, but I really want ramen now. Sorry. You could make it later in the week. Got any veggies on hand that you need to use up? Ramen's a great way to do that. All right, and then we are going to just cut off this little knob here. And there's a couple of things you can do with this ginger in this recipe. You could slice it in half and just crush each half and throw it into the broth whole and just let the broth kind of cook out the flavor from the ginger and then remove it at the end before you actually sit down and eat it. Or you could dice it up just like you do your garlic, but know that you will get bits and pieces of ginger in each bite, which if you like that flavor, great, but if not, then maybe you want to do it this way. So I'll show you this way. I'm just slicing it in half lengthwise and then laying the flat side of my knife down and just giving it a little crush just to kind of open it up, get those juices flowing, which will then flow into our soup or our ramen. Linda is saying, oh, these recipes are amazing. Thanks, Linda. I know you've been cooking quite a few of our recipes. I'm so glad that you like them and that they help you feel better because that's what this is all about. All right, we're going to do some scallion here. We're going to do the whites and the greens. Just thinly slice it. And then what we'll do is start by lightly sauteing these aromatics in our soup pot. So we'll head over here. We'll turn our stove on to about medium-high, or medium really. And I'm going to be using a sesame oil. It just goes really nicely with all of the other flavors in this dish. I'm going to do half of a tablespoon. Kind of eyeballed that there. If you don't have sesame oil, you can use any kind of oil. Canola oil, olive oil, whatever you have on hand. The sesame is just a really nice addition here. All right, and then into the pan, we're gonna throw that garlic, onions, and the ginger. We're just gonna saute it just for a minute or so. Janet's saying, I need more practice chopping more quickly. I can never keep up with you. Oh no, maybe I need to slow down then. I should slow down. You're not the first person to say that, Janet, so clearly I need to adjust my method. Oh, Janice, okay, great. So buckwheat is gluten-free then. Let me make sure there's nothing else. Sometimes they mix the flours. Okay, so this one is mixed. So this one also has wheat flour in it and organic buckwheat flour and water. But they do sell 100% buckwheat noodles. And so in that case, then you would be good to go. So just check that. And a lot of times they'll put gluten-free on the front if it is. Good point. Thank you for pointing that out. Hello, Mother. Good to see you. It feels like it's been so long. How are you? Do you have Dawson tonight? Lindsay's saying, yes, I think I'll make a wannabe version of ramen with a little bit of leftover faux broth that I have in my freezer. Look at that. You already have a broth made. It couldn't be more perfect. You'll have to make it now. Okay, so while that's coming up to heat and sauteing a little bit, I'm just going to run through real quick the ingredients that we'll put into this broth to make it delicious. So you can use 2 cups of chicken stock, or what I'm going to do is base mixed with water. So I have chicken base. I'm going to use 1 to 2 tablespoons, probably just 1 tablespoon of this chicken base mixed with 2 cups of water. So that's going to give it a nice rich flavor. And then we're also going to add about a tablespoon of miso paste, which you've probably seen us use on the show here before. You can get this at a specialty Asian supermarket, or a lot of times they'll have it at your regular supermarket in the international aisle there. This is going to give it that umami flavor. So miso paste is a fermented soybean paste. So it's got a really, really nice depth of flavor. And it's really going to deepen the flavor of your broth. And then we'll add just a little dash of soy sauce just to give it a little extra flavor. So those are going to be the 3 main ingredients that are going into our broth. So let's go check on all this stuff over here. Just stir this. You want to be careful not to let it burn. All of these ingredients, I mean, the garlic and the onion are sliced very thin, so they will burn pretty quickly. Oh, it smells so good. All right, so just a minute. It really just needs a minute, and then we can go ahead and pour everything else in. So like I said, I'm gonna do my chicken base here. And I'm gonna start by adding that water in first. So I've got 2 cups of water here. I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of this stock here. And normally if you're making this recipe for 4 or more people, or really even 2 people, you'll have a lot more liquid in here and you can kind of cook everything in this pot. But since it's just me and I'm cooking for just me, I'm gonna do a separate pot to cook our eggs. We'll get there in a second. All right, and then a little bit of our miso paste. Try to clean this spoon off a little bit. About a tablespoon, and you can always adjust these seasonings, so start small, especially if you've never made this before. And I'm going to add just a couple dashes of our soy sauce. All right, and we'll bring this up to a simmer, kind of let everything meld together. And while that's coming up, we can go ahead and chop the veggies that are going into this ramen. So what we're using is some broccoli and some mushrooms. Shitake mushrooms are my favorite. I didn't see any at the grocery store this time, so I'm going to use my second favorite, which is portobello mushrooms. And you're just going to want to chop them to about a bite-sized piece. Just imagine yourself eating vegetables in a soup. You know, how big would you want that vegetable? Bev is saying, no Dawson, Thursday night. Made a great butternut squash soup tonight. Ooh, yum. Was it our recipe? So this is about I don't know, a quarter, maybe a third of a head of broccoli. I I really love broccoli though, so I'm gonna have this whole little head here. So you can do any vegetables that you have on hand. You could do just broccoli if that's all you had, or if that's all you wanted. Or you could do as many different vegetables as you'd like. And then this portobello is pretty big, so I think I'm just going to use a portion of it. I'm not going to use the whole thing. And just chop it, slice it, like that. And then so these are going to be the things that we're going to throw into that broth once it gets up to a nice simmer. Jennifer, the bigger the chunk, the easier to eat with chopsticks. It's funny you say that because I was just thinking that too. I was like, how else can I explain this? So yes, if you're eating with chopsticks, then the bigger that your chunk is, the easier it's going to be to pick it up. I haven't used chopsticks in a while. Let's see how my chopstick skills are right now. Yeah, see, a lot easier to pick up a big chunk of broccoli compared to ginger. A little bitty bit of ginger. Yes, I love it, Jennifer. Linda, how long does the miso last? Mine doesn't have an expiration date. Well, I must go shopping again. Yum, I bought portobello mushrooms and bok choy. Ooh, and yummy veggies yesterday. Bok choy would be so delicious in your ramen. Miso paste, it should have an expiration date on it, but it can last a while. I think it can last several months in the refrigerator, maybe even up to 6 months, as long as you got it, got a lid on it while it's being stored in the refrigerator. It is a fermented product, so fermented foods typically last a lot longer than we might think. Trying to see if mine has an expiration date on it. Oh, this one is technically expired, but it looks fine. It smells fine. It's fine. It's fine. But you should go by the expiration date on your items. I will not advocate that you eat things that are past expiration date because I don't want to be responsible if you get sick. So abide by the expiration dates if you can. Linda, if you're now worried about whether or not yours is expired, if you want to be safe about it, maybe you should just buy a new thing of miso paste. But if there's nothing growing on it and it smells normal, it's probably okay. Jamie, is that a tattoo I see on your arm? Yes, it is. It's a koi fish. Nobody's asked me that yet before on the show. All these months. It's a koi fish, a purple koi fish. It goes very nicely along with our themed meal tonight, Japanese ramen. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Jennifer, expired equals more probiotics, right? Right. Lindsay's asking, have you ever made ramen with frozen veggies? I feel like this could be a good last minute recipe with just staple foods. Yes, I have, and I've actually used frozen broccoli before, and it came out really, really nicely. So great suggestion, Lindsay, and everybody else. Feel free to use frozen veggies if you have those on hand. Makes everything a lot easier, less prep too. I like it. Thanks, Jamie. You're welcome, Linda. Yes, I know, Mom, right? Okay, our soup here is simmering. So we're gonna throw in this broccoli and mushrooms here. And I worry that I don't have quite enough broth in here. So I'm gonna pour another cup or two of water in here. Just because I really want to cook my noodles in this broth as well. And we can alter the seasonings in a minute. So you want to just make sure you've got enough liquid in there to actually cook your veggies. All right, we'll put a lid on this, and I'm going to get another pot of water because we're going to boil our eggs. I don't know, has everybody had ramen before? Let me know if you've ever had ramen, and if you have not, or if you have not. A lot of times ramen comes with soft boiled eggs, and so that's what we're gonna make too. So I'm going to fill up a pot of water here to get our eggs in. We're gonna boil them for about 8 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes to get a nice soft boil on them. All right, we'll place this on the stove. Oops. And turn that heat on high and get that boiling. Wonderful. Lindsay, oh my gosh, how did I not know you have a koi fish? When I talk about Adrian and I refer to our little fam as the koi pond. Oh, McCoy, I love it. The koi pond. I don't know how you didn't know. We've hung out numerous times. I don't know. During the winter, I cover it quite a bit. You don't ever see it. And it's kind of hard to see. So, I don't know. Bev, why are you only cooking for yourself? Family is out and about. David and Colleen were out of town for a little bit, and George went out to dinner with a friend. So I've got the house to myself, and I'm cooking. Hi, Kathleen. Good to see you. Jennifer is saying we have a ramen house, here in Colombia, and they have those weird pink and white fake crab discs. It's weird. It is weird. It's, didn't we talk about this last time? I think we might have talked about this last time. They're called fish cake. I used to work at a sushi restaurant, and there was a soup that we would always put the fish cake into. And it's kind of strange. It's sort of like congealed fish meat put together, and then they have like pink food coloring or something on the outside of it. It's very strange. In my opinion, it doesn't really have much of a flavor. It's just sort of an odd thing to eat, I suppose. Kathleen, you always do that. Hi, even though I can't see you, I love it. I think I do that sometimes too. Okay, so we're gonna put, I'm gonna dice up just a little extra scallion. I like to throw some fresh scallion on top of my ramen bowl when it's done. You can also throw things like sesame seeds, seaweed on top if you have some, if you like that. Cilantro would also be really tasty in this. So any kind of, you know how we are about toppings here. We love to top our dishes. Just helps add a little extra flavor, a little extra nutrition, makes it look nice, makes it very appetizing. Okay, I'm gonna check on these guys. Oh, it smells so good. I'm gonna give this broth a little taste and kind of see where we are. Since we added a little extra liquid, we might need to add a little extra either chicken stock, miso paste, or soy sauce. You can kind of decide what you want to do. Oh, it's actually really nice the way it is. I don't think I need to do anything. Well, how about that? How about them apples? How about them koi fish? I probably should have started this a little sooner, but that's okay. If you don't like soft-boiled eggs, you can always hard-boil them, or if you don't really like that at all, you could leave the eggs out of this completely. But I have to say, it's a great source of protein. And it's tasty. Linda was saying, I was wondering what those discs were that were floating in my husband's pre-made kimchi soup bowls that he likes to take to work. Fish cake. Janet's saying, that looks great. Yes, it does. It smells wonderful too. So what we'll do is, you can do this a couple of different ways. If you're cooking for 2+ people, I recommend just using 1 pot and cook everything in the broth. Cook the noodles in the broth, cook the eggs and the veggies in the broth. Very simple cleanup. If you're like me and you're only cooking for one, chances are you're not going to have a lot of stock to work with if you're only making enough for one. So you might want to split it up like I'm doing right now and cook your noodles and your eggs in the pot on the back of the stove there. Or you could just increase the amount of broth that you make, and whatever you don't eat, you have as leftovers. And you could freeze it like Lindsay does. Lindsay's really good about freezing things, freezing extras that she has on hand so that she's got a quick meal or a quick component to a meal later on in the week. Bev is saying, yes, leave out the eggs unless scrambled. So if you're not going to use hard-boiled or soft-boiled eggs in this, and you wanted some other kind of protein, you could do some other kind of protein, like pork is very common in ramen. You could even do chicken, you could do beef, whatever you have on hand or whatever you like. Or you could do vegetarian, you could do tofu, which we've done before. That's really tasty as well. All right, we've got this up to a simmer. I'm gonna turn this broth down to a low and just let these veggies cook slowly. I don't want to overcook them. I don't want them to be too mushy, but it's nice cooking them in this broth because they will, the veggies will soak up all of that wonderful flavor from the broth. All right, I'm going to drop these eggs in. We are boiling. I'm going to turn that heat down to a medium. I don't want a rapid boil because then my eggs will hit the sides or hit the bottom of the pan and crack open, and I don't want that. So you just want to gently lower your eggs into the water. Careful not to crack them. And we'll start a timer for 7 minutes, which I'm going to do right now on my phone, my handy dandy phone here. All right, we'll let those eggs cook for about 7 minutes. And then your noodles, depending on what noodle that you have, these don't take very long either. So these take about 4 minutes. Now, if you're worried about the carbohydrates or anything like that, let me know. I'm curious to see what everyone's perspective is on noodles. I feel like noodles and bread and pasta get a bad reputation. How do you feel about eating noodles? Let me know. Lindsay, oh, my mouth is watering. When you remove the lid and the steam hits the camera, I can smell it from here. I was wondering if the steam hit the camera from that angle. I like it. Jamie is asking, if you use tofu, would you just put it in the broth or would you cook it separately first? You could do either one. Although I will say I've experimented with both and I have cooked it by itself first just to give it a little more firmness. But once you throw it into the soup, it kind of softens up again anyway. So I would just throw it straight in there. Yes, Janet, I love soft-boiled eggs too. So the nice thing about this brand or this packaging is that these noodles usually come in 3 bunches like this, and half of a bunch is considered 1 serving, which is going to give you roughly 35 grams of carbohydrate. So I'm not sure if anybody out there is counting carbohydrates at mealtime, but if you are, you'll know that half of one of these bunches of this brand is going to be roughly 35 grams of carbohydrate. And so you can fill up on other foods too, like your vegetables. Or maybe you exercised a lot that day, you could afford to have a whole thing of your noodles. So we're going to wait to throw these noodles in until my timer gets to 4 minutes, which I've got 45 seconds at this point. So I'm going to go on over there so I'm ready Let you see my timer there. Lindsay is asking how many grams of fiber? 2 grams of fiber and a whopping 8 grams of protein. So that's a good point. While these do contain carbohydrates, they are a whole grain, buckwheat and whole wheat. So you're going to get protein and fiber in there, which is going to slow the absorption of that carbohydrate into your body and not spike your blood sugar as high. All right, so I'm going to pop these guys in here. These are looking tasty. And so once that timer ends, noodles and eggs should be done. So I hope that this doesn't look too, confusing or labor intensive or time intensive. You do have 2 pots going, but like I said, you don't have to. You could use the one. But I will say, if you are looking to blow off some steam and kind of just have some me time, cooking is a really good way to do that. And so maybe doing a recipe like this where you do have a couple of things to focus on is good for you. Lindsay actually talked about this a little bit on her social media account not too long ago. I think it was a few days ago, about how meditative, I think it was baking. Is that right, Lindsay? How meditative baking was for her. That, she just doesn't think about anything else when she's in the kitchen baking, and she's only focused on that one activity. And so cooking can be very much like that. And I think that's a definite perk of learning how to cook and doing it on a regular basis, is that you have this creative, meditative outlet for your day on a daily basis, which really helps to calm your mind, reduce anxiety, possibly reduce depression, give you something to focus on other than whatever is going on in your day or in your life. I know for me, it's absolutely served that purpose. And so I hope that it can do the same for other people. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Do you currently use this? Do you currently use cooking as a creative or meditative outlet for yourself? Right, I'm gonna get a bowl ready just to drain my noodles in. Lindsay says, baking and cooking. This would be a perfect meditation recipe for me. Step by step, just focusing on each step at a time. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You should have seen me when I was trying to make like true, authentic, traditional ramen. For those of you who don't know, my husband and I went to Japan on our honeymoon and we ate a ton of ramen and we learned how to make it there. And so I came home and tried to replicate it. It did not taste anything like what I had over there. But the process took like a whole week because of all of the ingredients that you do, and the broth that you make has to cook for like 12 hours. Then you make like something called a shirashi, which involves cooking pork belly in a different kind of broth and actually letting it sit for like 1 or 2 nights in that. And so it was like 5 days long of trying to create traditional authentic ramen, and that was not very meditative because I was like, I don't understand how to do any of this, but it was fun to do. I think if I tried it again, it might go a little bit a little smoother. All right, so we're going to just get these eggs out first. I'm gonna transfer them. I should have just used a different bowl here, but let's use this guy. We're gonna run these eggs under cold water and kind of cool them off. Prevent them from cooking any longer. And then we will put our noodles, drain our noodles in here. You can actually use this broth or this liquid that you cooked your noodles in. If you needed extra liquid, you could add it into there. All right. Wonderful. Oh, those noodles look so good. Let's move. Actually, let's go ahead and bring, where's our bowl? We'll get our bowl, we'll scoop our veggies in here. Love me some broccoli. And there's that gigantic piece of ginger. So it's easy to spot, it's easy to get out. All right, we'll get our broth in here in just a second. So I'm gonna hold off on putting my noodles in here and the broth because I don't want my noodles to sit in the liquid any longer. Otherwise they'll get soggy and we don't want that. So we're gonna peel our eggs first and then we can put everything else together. And this is a great time to have a helper in the kitchen so they can help you peel your eggs. So we've got them in cold water here. Let them sit for just one more second. Linda saying, it's perfect, Ashley. Hi, Lindsay. Sorry, I'm cooking and taking notes. I love cooking. It makes me relax and sing in the kitchen and experiment with different items. Doctor wants me on a Mediterranean diet. Here we go. Mediterranean diet is a very healthy, well-balanced diet. And I think for you, to help reduce that inflammation, it can be very helpful. I would say that a lot of our recipes do kind of fall into that Mediterranean category. I'm happy to send you or tag you in a couple of recipes that kind of fit that bill. And also, I know of a few good cookbooks that you might find helpful, so I will send them your way. I'm going to write that down real quick so that I don't forget, because I'm very good at telling people I will do something and then not following through. So I'm trying to be better at that. 2019 intention right there. All right, let's peel these eggs. Does anybody have a fun egg peeling trick? We get our eggs from a friend here in town who has chickens, and her eggs are so beautiful and the yolks are so vibrantly orange. I believe she's got some happy chickens. There's one. That wasn't too bad. These actually peel really very easily. And then I normally just give them a quick rinse in case there's any eggshell left. Okay, so now what we'll do is put everything else in our bowl, and then the final touch will be the eggs. So we'll get our noodles in the bowl here. As they say in Japan, ramen waits for no one. Meaning once your bowl of ramen is served, you better be eating it because it waits for no one. No, I did not make that up. Oh, yum. I'm very excited for this. All right, time to top with our eggs. Let's see. The true test of how good the soft boil is. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Trying to focus in on it. It did focus. Come on. Okay, I think you get the idea. So we'll just nestle our beautiful eggs in here. Oh my goodness. Y'all, this is gonna be so good. And then we'll top it with a little bit of our scallion. Where'd they go? Did I smush them? Yeah. Yum. Delicious. Let's see if we can get. Oh, look at that. So tasty. Lots of broccoli on this side. Again, use any veggies that you like. This broth, there's a little too much broth in here. Oh, that's so good. Y'all, you gotta make this. Make it. Tasty. The other thing in Japan, they said, slurp your noodles. Don't hide the slurp noise. I don't know why, but if you go to a ramen house, all you can hear is everybody slurping their noodle. It's a wonderful experience. That's good. You're welcome, Linda. Yes, Janet's saying the Mediterranean cookbook ideas would be great. Yes, I will tag you in them as well. Oh, that's a good tip. Linda, put ice in the water. It peels fast. Yeah, I think there's something about quickly cooling down your boiled eggs that helps to, the shell almost pulls away from the egg itself, making it a little bit easier to peel. And adding ice to the water can get your water really, really cold, which helps that process move along faster. Good tip. Lindsay is saying I crack the egg, but then roll/smush the egg to get it cracked all over like a web. Peels off so easily. Nice. I like that. Sandy is asking, do her chickens produce all year? I think she said yes last time I talked to her, but that they are producing a little bit, they produce a little bit less in the winter. Jamie is saying that looks so delicious, doesn't it? So good. You guys can make it too. You can have this for dinner yourself as well. Oh, I missed this comment earlier, Lindsay. The one in your left hand looks like a smiley face. Dang it, I missed it. I missed that comment. Mom is saying looks like Bruce's eggs. There's something about those farm-raised chickens. Or should I say locally and pasture-raised chickens? Because I know what Bruce does. And I'm sure that his chicken farming practices are nothing like those of the eggs that you buy at a supermarket. Linda's going out tomorrow to get miso, and she's got everything else. Wonderful. Well, I hope you can find that miso easily, Linda, and I hope that you enjoy this recipe. And I'm trying to think of to keep this Mediterranean. Mediterranean eating is very rich in plant foods, so fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, olive oils, avocados, a little bit of grains, so a little bit of maybe some brown rice, some quinoa, some couscous. So in this case, you would just want a lot of vegetables in your ramen and maybe a smaller portion of your noodles. Salmon might be pretty good in this too. I have never experimented with that, but salmon absolutely goes along with that Mediterranean theme. Janet, can't wait to make it. Just need the broccoli and mushrooms or anything that you have on hand. You can use any kind of veggie you have. Yes, Sandy, I think, is agreeing. No, they are not the same. They are not the same. Okay, real quick, I'm going to take a bite of this egg here just so that I can tell you how delicious it is. That is if I can pick it up. It's delicious. So orange. Yum. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That was about 45 minutes long. Of course, I'm chatting here and there. So I think that you would likely be able to get it done in 30 to 40 minutes. So not too long, but you can always make it as long as you want if you enjoy being in the kitchen. Thank you for joining me tonight in my kitchen and talking with me. I love talking to you and hearing about your day, about what kitchen tips you have to share. Please come back and see me Wednesday night. I'll be right here, 6 p.m., cooking up a sweet potato stuffed with chickpeas, spinach, and feta cheese. That's going to be a really tasty one. And if you're interested in some daytime viewing, be sure to check out Lindsay's show on Tuesday and Thursday, so tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. She also hosts her show in helping people cook healthy recipes that better manage blood sugar. And for anybody out there who might be interested in prenatal nutrition, maybe if you're pregnant, you're wanting to become pregnant, or maybe you're breastfeeding, Jennifer Schlub is our other dietitian who has a show Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so 5 p.m. Central Time. And her show focuses on nutrition during pregnancy, and she's got wonderful recipes just like Lindsay and I. So be sure to check her out or share her show with someone that you know might really be interested in it. All right, thanks y'all, and I will see you Wednesday. Have a good night.